The coast of Florida, January 2015. The crew of a Navy F-18 fighter jet fly into restricted airspace and encounter an airborne object directly in their flight path. They aim their forward-looking infrared camera at the object and capture it in flight.
F-18s were chasing this thing, and they couldn't catch it. The UAP is doing things that modern aerodynamic vehicles can't do.
The pilots in pursuit of the unidentified craft observed that it performed unusual maneuvers unlike any military aircraft they had ever witnessed, and all while flying at high velocities.
One of the impressive aspects of it is that it's moving against the wind, and you can hear the pilots say this.
Look at that thing, dude. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west.
It doesn't lose speed, and it rotates mechanically against the wind. This gimbal footage is one of the rare pieces of physical evidence that is corroborated directly by individuals who are out there on the East Coast documenting these things. It is highly impressive.
Now, modern-day aircraft can yaw and pitch, and they can roll, but they can't simply pitch straight up and continue to move forward into the line of flight. This thing does that. It's moving extremely fast, and it's accelerating much faster than the F-18s can. So that in itself is a feat that mankind has yet to accomplish.
We tried to vet this for a long time. What's uncomfortable is that we haven't figured it out, that we don't know whose technology this is. If you can't identify someone that's far more advanced than you technologically, Houston, we have a problem.
The object was dubbed gimbal due to its ability to rotate on an axis. But for ancient astronaut theorists, just as intriguing as the way it moves is the object's shape.
The craft itself is an acorn-shaped craft. Immediately, that's reminiscent of what the ancient Indian text described as the Vimana, which were acorn-shaped craft.
In the Mahabharata and in many of the ancient Vedic texts, they speak about the so-called Vimanas. The Vimanas were flying vehicles with which to reach the celestial realm.
In the ancient Sanskrit epics of India, there are highly detailed descriptions of the Vimana, which carried the gods and other important figures through the sky, and sometimes to other planets. The acorn-shaped craft were even incorporated at the very top of many Hindu temples. And some researchers believe they also inspired similar Buddhist structures called stupa.
If we go to Indonesia and look at Borobudur, where we have 194 stupas sitting in concentric circles, each stupa, in my opinion, represents a type of flying craft, because stupa actually means celestial chariot, or a way with which to reach the celestial realm. And they are in the shape of the so-called Vimanas.
Often the Vimana were described as war machines, armed with incredible weapons.
There are tales of flying craft that could defy gravity and fly at extraordinary speeds that defy the laws of physics. These were military in usage, had powerful engines and powerful weapons. In these battles, missiles would fire that could wipe out cities. These were the earliest stories we have of flying military craft.
In the Indian text, the Vimanas are the chariots or craft of the gods. They were clearly a method of transportation that could take the gods from place to place, country to country, and even to other planets. They're sometimes described as bright clouds. Some of them are 7 stories tall.
In 1895, Sanskrit scholar Shivkar Tampada decided to fashion an aircraft based solely on information gleaned from the ancient Indian writings about the Vimana. While the story is hotly disputed, he allegedly tested the craft in front of an audience of thousands of people on a beach in Bombay.
The legend has it that he flew for like 30 seconds at 1,500 feet. The Wright brothers only went 120 feet for 12 seconds. But even more exciting is that this is technology based on a scripture written thousands of years before mankind ever had the idea of heavier than air flight. How is this possible?
According to the Hindu text, the crafts were mind-controlled, able to change direction and pitch and travel at high speeds, defying our current knowledge of aeronautical physics.
What's really cool is that these modern-day UFO videos show that these vehicles are capable of ridiculous maneuvers. They can just stop or change direction immediately at G-forces that we could not survive. In the Vimanika Shastra, which describes what these Vimanas were capable of doing, the exact same descriptions exist. The fact that we have similar stories in ancient times illustrates to me something similar has happened.
Rachel, Nevada, September 2019. To further investigate what might be hidden at the secret Area 51 base, former British Ministry of Defense officer Nick Pope and filmmaker Jeremy Corbell have enlisted the help of local resident Jorg Arnu. Jorg, who has lived in nearby Rachel, Nevada for 15 years, has been a first-hand witness to Area 51's recent history.
What's the strangest interaction you've seen of people coming in or out of the base?
Heavy construction equipment going into the base when they were doing construction. And also sometimes you see military vehicles being dragged into the base. They set them up inside the bombing ranges for shooting targets. Just pull over here. Okay. There's a sheriff's vehicle coming our way. We don't want any trouble. We don't want to block them. Okay. We don't want to go any further.
This is extra security. I don't think we've ever seen quite this much.
In light of the tension surrounding the Storm Area 51 event, the military has implemented a zero-tolerance lockdown at the gate of the secret base.
So, here we are. I think this is about as far as we can go. The point of no return, right?
Yes. We cannot go any further.
All this barbed wire here, all these security measures, this is the point at which, if you take one step further, the full force of security will come down on us, right?
Make no mistake, we step one step into their territory and everything is going to change.
If I came up here, is anybody going to talk to me? Are they going to say anything to me?
No. These are signs that spell out in plain English, bad things are going to happen to you if you cross this line.
Right.
It's very clear.
So now look, if we walked past that barrier, up that road, what would we see? What would we find?
We would be walking down about 20 miles, a paved road, into the valley that Area 51 is located in. In between here and the base, there's more security checkpoints, there's more road sensors. If you were to get to Area 51, you're standing there and you look around and it looks like any other military Air Force base. But the good stuff is all in hangars. It is not out in the open. It's not like, you know, they got the saucer right there on the runway.
So there are hangars, obviously, but there are even rumors of huge underground facilities carved into the sides of the mountains.
There are people that talk about underground facilities. They keep tabs on people that watch the base. They know exactly when somebody's up on Tikaboo Peak, for instance, one of the view spots of the base.
Located 26 miles from the Area 51 base, Tikaboo Peak is the only public land where people can actually see the Groom Lake runway and hangars.
And they know exactly, okay, right now is a good moment to fly our good stuff, and that's when they bring out the good stuff. I've actually been on Tikaboo Peak when they did a test flight, and it was the most amazing thing. We look at the base, and all of a sudden, in the middle of the night, all the runway lights come on. I mean, it's the most amazing thing to watch. All of a sudden, the desert in front of you, below you, becomes alive. You see a light taxiing to the runway, the light takes off, the runway lights go out, that light goes out, and that was the end of that. I mean, literally feet above the runway, the lights just went out.
That's ultra high security. I mean, whatever that thing was, clearly they were really trying to protect it and minimizing that anyone could get eyes on it.
Correct.
Washington, D.C., April 2011. The FBI releases thousands of files as part of its online FBI Vault. One particular file draws the attention of the media and independent researchers. The memo, dated March 22, 1950, is a briefing to FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover regarding informant information about 3 flying saucers that were recovered in New Mexico. Investigators immediately connect the memo to the infamous Roswell incident, a purported UFO crash that many people believe was covered up by the military in 1947. But this document is just the latest in a series of government files that have been released in recent years, suggesting there may be more to the Roswell crash than the public was told.
As an investigative reporter, I think what I am amazed by is how many leaked documents from the 1940s have actually come out into the world and lay out details about what really happened at Roswell. On July 4th, a rancher named Mac Brazel finds all kinds of strange silver debris. He knows he doesn't understand what he's walking through. He decides to go into Roswell and tell the sheriff, something has crashed on my ranch. Intel coming out of Roswell Army Airfield get assigned to go to the debris field. And these men are told that they are to pick up every single thing that is in the debris field on the Mac Brazel Ranch. Everything is to be picked up.
On July 8, 1947, the headline on the front page of the Roswell Daily Record reports that the military had retrieved a flying saucer. But the following day, the official story is suddenly changed to suggest it was nothing more than a failed weather balloon.
Roswell was the home of the 509th Bomb Group. This was the only atomic bomb-capable squadron anywhere in the world. These people were the best of the best. The idea that intelligence personnel at this base would mistake a weather balloon for something exotic is preposterous. So that, arguably, is the start of the UFO cover-up.
Weather balloon, swamp gas, meteorite, it doesn't matter. It's always something else but a UFO. The Roswell crash was covered up. The fact that they retracted the story of having captured a flying saucer, in my opinion, it was quick PR damage control.
World was told, nope, just a weather balloon. And for more than 30 years, that's where it was left, until witnesses started to surface, saying, no, it was actually an extraterrestrial craft. And people saw alien bodies.
The Minuteman Missile National Historic Site, South Dakota, June 28, 2019. Giorgio Tsoukalos is with former Air Force Commander Robert Salas at a decommissioned nuclear launch site that is identical to one at Malmstrom Air Force Base, where Salas had a UFO encounter in 1967.
So after the object flew away, what happened next? The missiles come back online?
We had to bring maintenance crews out to go through a very intricate procedure to bring them back up online. Within 24 hours, we had our missiles back up.
And then was there a debriefing or was there a discussion?
We were ordered to our squadron commander's office right away. And I said, what the hell happened out there? And he said, I don't know. I asked him specifically, could it have been some kind of an Air Force exercise? And He said, absolutely not. And then the guy next to him, he shoved this paper in our faces, sign here. I said, what is this? And he said, this is a non-disclosure statement about the incident. You are never to speak about it to anybody.
So you were given an order?
We were ordered to sign it, yeah. And that was it. I could not speak about this, and I didn't speak about this to anyone for about 27 years.
Some believe that the ability of UFOs to shut down nuclear missiles poses a grave threat to national security, and that the Malmstrom incident suggests the aliens had a hostile intent. But Robert Salas believes it shows the opposite. The intruders were demonstrating their concern for mankind.
They did not damage the missiles. They did not hurt anybody. If they had some kind of a weapon, they did not use it against any of the guards. So all it was, to me, was a message, and the message was, get rid of your nukes. They will not help you in any way advance your civilization.
Right. Over the years, you thought about this, and essentially it was a warning that this is not the way to go.
Exactly, exactly.
Robert Salas and his commanders saw that all 10 missiles, one by one, went offline. Now, this is something that the Air Force later deemed could not be possible because all of these missiles are all independent. So the likelihood of someone being able to manipulate this is almost zero. And I say almost zero because clearly somebody did it. I could feel the emotion by Robert, and for over 20 years he has investigated this, and there are dozens of similar examples.